May 2026. Sean McDowell, a guy that I follow on YouTube, I follow his channel quite a bit actually, had an interview with Steve Miller. No, not the Steve Miller of the 70s band of popular fame, but a gentleman who has studied near-death experiences. And I've seen a few of these videos that Sean has done. He's interviewed a few different people on this topic, and it's super fascinating. And I just wanted to share it with you. So let's go through some of it and let's see what he has to say.
Near-death experiences. This is one I've been looking forward to. We've got in studio, friend of mine, colleague of mine, who I would consider one of the leading experts on near-death experiences today. He's a professor, he's an author, Dr. Steve Miller. We were doing the math today, and we've done 9 videos on near-death experiences. I believe over 1.5 million views, and I only mention that because there's just so much interest and fascination in this topic. We've talked about hellish near-death experiences. We've talked about just the scientific evidence for near-death experiences. Today, we have over a dozen questions that have been submitted through X/Twitter, through YouTube. We have some live ones here. All right, with that said, thanks for coming on the show. You ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it.
All right, so this past Friday, posted an interview with Dr. Pim van Lommel, and I wanted to get your take on this. You've written 4 books, I believe, so far, working on 2 more on near-death experiences, deathbed experiences. Oh, and by the way, if you have a question, put question in caps and then state it right there. If it's relevant to near-death experiences, then we actually will address it if it's short and to the point. With that said, give us your take on the interview with Pim van Lommel. Like, who is he? Why is this so significant? Tell us a little about this, Steve, if you will.
Yes, I think if you watch that interview, some of it needs to be unpacked if you haven't done a lot of study into near-death experiences. But he is just a powerful figure in this history of near-death studies because, number one, he's a cardiologist. His specialty was in resuscitation. So he knows what's supposed to happen when somebody flatlines and experiences clinical death, cessation of breathing, cessation of heartbeat. He knows that very quickly your consciousness goes down to basically nothing in about 30 seconds. And so he was trained as a naturalist. This is no Christian or theist or New Ager or somebody trying to promote their religion. He's just a guy who was trained in a country where over half of the people don't even believe in the afterlife, so it's not a religious country. And at about 26 years old, he had an experience that he just could not forget. So he had come in, he was a cardiologist trained, doing his rounds, and this was in the 1960s, so this was a time early in resuscitation studies. They had not been doing resuscitations that often. So one of the patients flatlines, the alarms go off, all the nurses, everyone, the personnel go running into the room. They start beating on the chest, they resuscitate the patient, and then they're all pretty full of themselves and excited about it, except for one person, the patient. And this patient had been on the other side in complete ecstasy, came back with a story to tell about being out of his body. And this, for von Lommel, went against anything he had ever been trained in. And he says in the video, he says, nobody ever gave evidence for this, but it was just assumed in my medical training that all mental activities depended on the brain.
So, so there's a lot to unpack there. So he was saying what they're talking about is clinical brain function stops, right? After about 30 seconds. And these people are considered clinically dead. And what he's going to talk about here is how the brain is believed to be the end of consciousness, meaning that when the brain ceases to function because there's no oxygen going to it and there's no thought going on and you're clinically gone, that your awareness of yourself should go with it. but it doesn't. You, as this man is as he just explained a little bit, he's going to go into a little bit more detail. There was consciousness after he was clinically gone, and that's super fascinating to me. Let's continue.
Brain shuts down. They should experience nothing.
Right.
When they come back, they should have no memories from this time. Now, the physicist John Wheeler said, in whatever field you're in, find the strangest thing and explore it. Some people just refuse to look into it any further. They'll say, oh, it's an anomaly. Who knows why it happened? We don't know. Maybe it's a false memory, and just blow it away. But he did the scientific thing and decided to research it. So he took several hospitals as a part of a prospective study, which means that rather than just talking to people about their past experiences, he set it up to where the physicians were looking for these experiences in their resuscitations so that he could get in and study them. And his conclusion, after years of good research, was that these people were coming out of their bodies during this experience completely against the naturalistic, reductionistic training that he had had in the past. So this was significant. And then he publishes it in The Lancet, which is one of the top medical journals in the world. And they said they took it because it was just done so well. They said, whether or not we agree with what you're saying about near-death experiences, we can't argue with your methodology. You did a great job. And so he's been honored as one of the top cardiologists in the world for by at least one organization. He's not your average cardiologist next door. He has won awards and wrote an excellent book, Consciousness Beyond Life. And this is, it's not for the person who just wants a bunch of fuzzy stories. This is for people who want to get into the research, see what near-death experiences is all about, and very well documented. He's very well spoken, and what a scientist. So here's a person who is a scientist, trained as a medical scientist. Here he is, an elderly man. He studied this all of his life, and he's saying, materialistic reductionism just doesn't work. People are
Interesting. So, yeah, the materialistic worldview is on trial here. It seems to be failing. The book, what do you call it? Was it Beyond Life? Looks like something to look up. I definitely want to read that book.
outside of their bodies because they could confirm what was happening in the operation facility, wherever they were, during a time when they should have been clinically dead. How did they know these things that were going on? And he talks about that in the video, very specific things that people could not have known. Like a person knew that his dentures had been taken out while he was dead, where they put them so that they could find them in this cart.
So it's important for people to realize how just pioneering his research was. So it's important for people to realize
where they put them so that they could find them in this cart.
Wow. So not only does your consciousness apparently go on after you die, if you're a Christian, of course, that's what you believe. But if you don't believe that, I'm curious as to what you think is happening in these cases, especially when they come out with details like, oh, they not only were they not their consciousness was not confined to their body, but they were able to know certain details. Like this guy, his dentures were put in a box or a basket, or whatever he said, somewhere else, and he knew where they were after he came out of his ordeal. That's great, man. You can't just explain that away. It's an anomaly. It was a floating memory that just happened to pop out at the wrong time after he came into it's old memory. No, it's not. It happened while he was under. So how do you explain that?
So it's important for people to realize how just pioneering his research was. And so there's a few figures like this. Michael Sabom would be this way. And of course, Raymond Moody was one of the first in the 1970s when he wrote this. Now we have YouTube videos you can watch. I've probably done 15 or 20. There's popular level books, but nobody was talking about this. So I have the assumption of materialism going into it, see something you don't expect, be willing to do a research study and follow it where it leads. That's really significant. Now, there were some issues. Ultimately, he and I have a different worldview and will make sense of some of the near-death experiences differently. So really some of the debate comes into not so much is there evidence for the soul beyond the body? Is there evidence for life after death? But how do we assess the evidence, and what does the evidence mean for when it comes to a worldview? That's where some of the difference is, and we have some questions that came in about that. Let me read one thing from his book. Consciousness Beyond Life is a mega best-selling book. And he says, perhaps as many as 1 in 10 people now report a near-death experience. Perhaps as many. Now, some would say that's an overstatement, but nonetheless, to even suggest that is compelling that many people maybe report a near-death experience.
Wow. So what are your thoughts? Have you had a near-death experience? I don't personally have one. I know of a person that when they were a child, got caught up in the undertow at the beach and was under there for quite a while. And when the child came out, obviously the parents were panic stricken, went in and finally they were able to find where he was and got him out. And they were obviously very upset. And like, oh, we thought we lost you. We thought you lost you. And the child said, but why? I I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was to something of the degree like it was okay because Jesus helped me. Jesus helped me. And so near death, yeah, and Jesus helped. I have other stories like that. One day I'll have to get into the personal things that have happened to me and my loved ones. But for the time being, for this video, what do you guys think about that? Is that just not crazy? It's fascinating. And not only is it interesting, fascinating, and like kind of touches that sci-fi feel, like, ooh, man, there's something going on. But it doesn't it give you hope? It should give you hope, right? Like there is something to the afterlife. Like whether you've ever experienced anything supernatural, which a lot of people have, there's something else going on. There's another realm, at least one other realm that we can't identify and don't know what's going on, but we catch glimpses sometimes. Is that what this is? Is this part of that, right? Seems like it. And it goes perfectly with the worldview of Christianity that there is an afterlife. So just a fascinating thing. So we'll end that one here. Let's let me know what you guys think of that, and then I'll get into the other questions that they address on this in another video. All right, love you guys. The God I worship, the God I love, sees you.